How do you think the Saints should handle this, that meeting today, and then the discussions going forward?
Well, obviously, internally, Laura, it's going to have to really embody honesty and transparency, and they're going to need Drew to go ahead and then, obviously not personally because they can't really get together, but virtually he's going to need to explain to his brothers, his teammates, exactly what he was really trying to convey as far as well, let me put it this way. I think what he wanted to convey was not what he did convey. Okay, let me put it that way first and foremost. And that, as he said, he missed the mark as far as what really should have been his point of emphasis was, which should have been this. Look, being empathetic, being aware as to why people are protesting in the streets right now and why Colin Kaepernick initially kneeled during the national anthem. That's what my focus should be. That's what my focus should have been, and I apologize, and I'm sorry for that. And he tried to express that. He tried to articulate that he missed the mark. Those were his words. I missed the mark. I was insensitive, and I was unaware. And he's going to have to then say, hey, look, now I have to move past this statement that I've made, and now I have to engage in action. And now I have to put my money where my mouth is. And now I have to do the kind of things that I said in that statement. And look, no one can accuse Drew Brees of not putting his money where his mouth is. He has put his own money in large amounts where his mouth is, and he has tried to help others, and he has tried to look out for the greater good throughout his career, as far as I know, as far as I have seen, and as far as I have been privy to, as far as information is concerned. So now he's going to have to do that once again, because right now, look, he obviously needs to repair his credibility within that locker room, as far as people wanting to ask him, look, Drew, where do you really stand on this? Because right now, I mean, this was something that you should have been able to reasonably, make a comment about without having to then make a second comment about, given the fact that this is something that has dominated media coverage, and we all know what is going on right now from a society standpoint. We all know this. So why couldn't you just have initially tailored your comments to what exactly it is that is really ailing us as a society right now? Why did it take you to have to rethink it and then go back and then issue an apology? Is it because intrinsically and organically that is what is really in the forefront of your mind, which is the fact that whenever you see somebody kneel, you just make it about you and you make it about disrespecting of the flag, which it's not about, and people have already articulated that that's not what it's not about. He's going to have to really kind of like express himself to his teammates. And DeMario already expressed the fact that, look, he is someone that is tremendously respected in that locker room, someone that many people look up to and revere and are hurt. They're authentically hurt by what he said, because it felt like he didn't care. It felt like he was unaware of what they are after and what they are trying to fight for. And that cut Malcolm Jenkins deep. Those weren't, fake crocodile tears that Malcolm was crying right there. You saw authentic emotion, and you heard what he said. He said, look, this is somebody who looked up to Drew, and many people do. Many of us around the National Football League who don't know Drew, and I don't know Drew personally, but I respect Drew. I respect what he portrays as far as what his character is. And this is something that he needs to then, as far as the Saints are concerned, he needs to repair with his teammates. And it's going to take time. But, locker rooms are very forgiving places. Football locker rooms in particular, because of how big they are and how different the guys are as far as the kind of backgrounds that they come from. And people have overcome a lot more in my time. I've seen it happen personally. And he's going to have to now start that journey. And he's also going to, again, have to make sure that his actions match up with his statements, and we're going to have to give him the benefit of the doubt as far as, allowing him to do so.
Well, I think the thing that we have to look at is the fact that what it really comes down to, Louis, is that Drew Brees' actions from here on need to be consistent with the statement he just gave this morning to correct the tone deafness that he clearly displayed when he spoke yesterday. It's really what it comes down to. Then after he does that, then it ultimately comes down to those players. You can sit up there and say, he who has not sinned should cast the first stone and all of this other stuff. But in the end, what it comes down to is what Mario just highlighted. The fact is, he is well respected. Well, why was he well respected? What is it that he did? Because when Louis Riddick, Stephen A., or a host of others speak, we remember Drew Brees' efforts post-Hurricane Katrina. We remember how many times his efforts have been applauded in the community in New Orleans and beyond. We remember that he's had a pretty impeccable reputation, not just as a great quarterback, but as a great leader. Somebody that got guys from all ethnic and cultural backgrounds to come together with him and side with him because of the kind of man he was, not just the kind of quarterback that he was. So again, if you're going into that locker room, to me, if he sits up there and his words face to face, if that's possible, it's not possible right now, but face to face in communicating with these individuals, if they are consistent with what he said this morning, then we gonna find out about those other guys in the locker room, because as black folks all over the nation and throughout the world are protesting, and certainly not alone, because there are white people protesting too. Let's keep something else in mind here. A lot of times, one of the biggest problems I find, and this is just my personal opinion, Louis and Max, when it comes to white folks that get themselves in trouble are white folks that think they know more than they actually do know. Coming across like their authenticity, their knowledge, how not oblivious they are to a situation. They try to give off that impression, and then sometimes they reveal their ignorance without even knowing it, and they want to deny it and fight you off instead of embracing and accepting the fact you ain't black, you don't know. Did you make an effort to find out? And by the way, as black people, did we make an effort to tell you and show you what we endure? Because that's what this really comes down to. If Drew Brees comes there with the appropriate level of contrition and it matches and is consistent with what his statement revealed this morning, then the black folks inside that locker room have to ask themselves, why was he so oblivious? It might be, in all likelihood, because as a white guy, not being black, you were never exposed to those things. You didn't care. You were tone deaf. It just went in one ear and out the other. That was their problem. That's not my problem. Or it's a slight possibility that as black folks, you assumed they would feel that way and never gave them a chance to know you. And as a result, that might have contributed to the level of ignorance that they had.